It all started when my HOA Karen decided that my fireplace did not meet their community standards. She stood in front of my house, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, as if my brick chimney was some kind of crime against humanity. The funny part? That fireplace had been there since the house was built, long before Karen even moved into the neighborhood. But as always, HOA Karens love to make problems where there are none. She didn't just send me a simple letter, no. She made it her personal mission. She printed out violation notices and taped them right on my front door, bold red letters screaming at me like I had committed a terrible crime. Every morning, I would wake up, open my door, and there it was, another piece of paper demanding that I remove or repair my perfectly fine fireplace. I laughed at first, thinking she must be joking. But Karen never jokes. She thrives on control, and this was her chance to make my life miserable. And let me tell you, the way she marched up and down the street, telling neighbors that my chimney was unsafe, was unbelievable. She even whispered to people that it was a fire hazard, as if she was suddenly a professional inspector. It was humiliating. Imagine being in your own home and realizing your neighbor is going door to door spreading lies about your house. It made me furious, but it also made me think, why is she really doing this? See, Karen loved power. She was the kind of person who felt bigger by making others feel small. And for her, my fireplace was just another excuse to flex her HOA badge like it was a sheriff's star. But here's the thing about people like her, they never see it coming when you fight back smarter than they expect. At first, I tried to be reasonable. I called the HOA office, I explained the history of the fireplace, I even showed them old pictures of the house proving it was part of the original structure. But instead of listening, they sided with Karen.
Why?
Because she had a loud voice and friends on the board. They told me I had 30 days to correct the violation or face heavy fines. My blood boiled. 30 days? For a fireplace that was perfectly safe and legal? That was the moment I decided, if they want to play games, I'll play too. And I'll win. You see, I'm not someone who backs down when I'm pushed. I've worked too hard in life to let someone like Karen control me. So, instead of arguing with her, I started researching. I wanted to know everything about chimneys, fireplaces, inspections, codes, you name it. Late at night, while Karen probably sat in her living room feeling proud of herself, I was digging into records and laws. And what I found shocked me. Turns out, the chimney inspection and repair business in our area was small, almost like a monopoly. And the biggest company, the one HOA always hired for inspections, was up for sale. That's right. The very same company Karen relied on to back up her claims was sitting quietly on the market, waiting for a buyer. And in that moment, a wild idea hit me. What if I bought the company? I sat back in my chair, smiling to myself. It sounded crazy. It sounded risky. But oh, it also sounded like sweet, sweet revenge. Imagine the look on Karen's face when she realized that every chimney inspection, every report, every piece of paper would come through me. The same person she was trying to destroy would suddenly be her authority. I couldn't resist. The next morning, I called the number. I met with the owner. And within a few weeks, after signing papers and transferring funds, the chimney company was mine. Me, the guy Karen accused of having a dangerous fireplace, was now the boss of the very business she leaned on for her power. Talk about flipping the script. The first thing I did, I scheduled an official inspection of my own fireplace. I sent my team over, they checked every brick, every vent, every detail. And the result? Perfect condition. No violations. Safe and secure. I had it in writing, stamped and signed. The smile on my face was so wide it hurt. When I handed that report to the HOA, their faces dropped. Karen's jaw literally hung open. She tried to argue, of course. This isn't fair. He owns the company now. But guess what? It didn't matter. The HOA's own rules said inspections must come from licensed professionals. And my company was licensed. End of story. Neighbors started whispering. The same people who once believed Karen's lies were now laughing behind her back. The power she held so tightly was slipping through her fingers, and there was nothing she could do. But I wasn't finished yet. Oh no. This was just the beginning. Because when you go up against a Karen, you don't just defend yourself, you turn the tables. And the best part of this story is still to come. After the inspection report came back clean, Karen lost it. She stormed down the street, waving her arms like she was leading a protest, shouting that it was a conflict of interest. She even demanded an emergency HOA meeting, claiming that my ownership of the chimney company made the whole system corrupt. But the funniest part? No one cared anymore. The neighbors had seen the truth with their own eyes. They realized Karen wasn't protecting the community. She was just obsessed with control. Still, Karen didn't give up. She sent me threatening emails, full of capital letters and exclamation points. "This isn't over," she wrote. "You can't just buy your way out of the rules." I read those words and laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. Because here's the thing, when you live under an HOA, they expect you to be scared of fines, scared of rules, scared of power. But once you flip that power, once you take away their favorite weapon, they have nothing left. I kept quiet for a while, just to let her anger stew. But behind the scenes, I had a bigger plan. You see, owning the chimney company didn't just give me power over my house. It gave me power over every house in the community. Every time the HOA demanded inspections, every time a neighbor needed a repair, my company was the one they called. And with every call, I gained respect, influence, and money. Neighbors who once avoided me were now knocking on my door, asking for advice, thanking me for being fair. One woman even said, "I'm glad you own that company now. At least we know we won't be scammed." That's when it hit me. Karen's reign of fear was officially over. But Karen, oh Karen, she couldn't accept it. She tried to push for a new rule: homeowners may not own businesses that service the HOA. She thought this would disqualify me. But guess what? To change HOA rules, she needed a community vote. And by now, most of the neighborhood was on my side. At the meeting, when she stood up, red-faced and shaking, trying to rally people against me, hardly anyone raised their hand. In fact, someone in the back whispered, "Why don't you step down, Karen?" The room erupted in laughter. That moment was golden. For years, Karen had bullied people into silence. Now she was the one being silenced. Her face turned pale, and she sat down, defeated. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But I wasn't done. Oh no. Remember how she went around telling people my fireplace was unsafe? I decided it was time to flip the spotlight back on her. My team inspected her house, purely as part of the HOA's regular rotation. And guess what? Her chimney wasn't just outdated, it was a genuine hazard. The bricks were cracked, the lining was damaged, and the whole thing was a fire risk. When the official report came out, Karen's name was at the top of the violation list. The irony was too perfect. The same woman who claimed I was a danger to the community was now facing thousands of dollars in repairs for her own home. And because HOA rules were strict, she had no choice but to comply. She tried to argue, of course. She screamed, she yelled, she even accused me of making up the report. But this time, no one listened. The HOA board, her own friends, turned against her. They told her she had 30 days to fix her chimney, or else she would face daily fines. The look on her face. Priceless. But here's where the revenge turned sweet. Instead of hiring another company, she had no choice but to hire mine. That's right. The woman who tried to destroy me was now paying me to repair her chimney. And when the final bill came, it wasn't cheap. Thousands of dollars flowed from Karen's pocket straight into my business account. Talk about justice. I remember standing there on the day of the repair, watching my crew work on her house. Karen stood in the window, arms crossed, glaring at me with pure hatred. I smiled and waved. For the first time ever, she had no power over me. In fact, she was in my hands. After that, Karen went quiet. The emails stopped. The threats stopped. She barely left her house anymore. Neighbors whispered that she was embarrassed, humiliated, completely broken down. And honestly, I didn't need to rub it in anymore. The damage was done. But here's the real lesson from all of this. HOA bullies like Karen think they can control everyone forever. They think their rules make them untouchable. But the truth? Power can flip in an instant. And when you stand up for yourself, when you fight smart instead of just fighting loud, you can win in ways they never saw coming. My fireplace still stands today, stronger than ever. Every time I sit by it, I remember that battle. I remember the stress, the anger, the laughter, the victory. And I remember the face of a Karen who learned the hard way that messing with the wrong person has consequences. So if you're ever dealing with an HOA nightmare, let my story remind you of one thing: you're not powerless. You can fight back. You can outsmart them. And sometimes, you can even turn their own game against them. And if you loved this story, don't just scroll away. Hit that like button, share this with someone who's had their own HOA horror, and subscribe for more wild revenge stories. Because trust me, this is only the beginning.